Hi, I'm going to show you how to do vibrato first on the violin and viola, and then we'll transfer to the cello and the bass. So for vibrato on the violin and viola, the first step is to hold your hand in front of your face like you're looking in the mirror. And then just let your fingers go nice and soft and floppy. And we want your hand to be on straight up and down from your arm, so not out here the way you would normally play, but just bring it in so that it's all really balanced and loose. So I want you to pretend now that your hand is a bobblehead. So if your hand was a bobblehead, it would be really loose and soft and floppy, right? It's not going to have any kind of resistance to it. But also, I don't want it flopping this far. Okay, it's just enough that that if you shake your arm, that your hand is going to wobble on top of your arm. All right, so we now have this nice bobblehead motion going, and if you can imagine that your bobblehead is saying yes, then you're doing it right, okay? If your bobblehead is going all over the place or going side to side, then he's saying, no, that's not right. Okay, so just forward and back like he's agreeing with you. Yes, this is correct. Good for you. All right, so that's the primary shake of doing vibrato. A lot of times people think vibrato is really hard. Really all it is just this idea of shaking the hand. It's when we get a big piece of wood in our hand that all of a sudden we feel like we need to clamp down, and it becomes really difficult. All right, so the next step in your vibrato is go ahead to playing position, but hold your violin or your viola with your right hand so that your left hand is free. We don't want to have to worry about holding the instrument up at all. So just use your right hand to hold it. So now do your shake right next to the fingerboard. Just get that going. And now we're going to place just the tip of your thumb, this part right here, underneath the instrument. Now, not completely under. Maybe it's kind of like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock if it was a clock side. So it's not all the way up the side and it's not all the way under. It's just kind of diagonal underneath. That's going to help to support the instrument just a little bit and get the knuckles up and over the fingerboard where they can balance just a little bit better. All right, now it's very important at this point that your wrist is not bent way back, and of course it's not going to be caved in. It needs to be straight, okay? And nothing else is touching other than the tip of the thumb. This area is not touching at all. That's a really major important detail of doing vibrato, that nothing else is touching except for the tip of the thumb at this point. And then once you get comfortable with that, actually let's talk about what the thumb is doing. The thumb needs to be a very loose pivot at the base of this thumb. If you are closed up right here with your thumb shape, then the vibrato is not going to work. That's too tight. So we need to keep this open, and the thumb needs to be so loose that it feels like a cooked turkey leg on Thanksgiving Day. Okay, so it's very loose. There's absolutely no resistance whatsoever. So we shake, we add just the thumb with a very loose pivot at the base of the thumb, and finally we're just going to lightly touch the tip of the second finger to the string. Could be any string, doesn't really matter. You can be anywhere on your instrument, but we're not going to be listening to it quite yet. So just touch just the tip of the finger, and don't even push the string all the way down. We're just going to barely touch the string, because any tension in the hand at this point might lock up your vibrato and then it doesn't work anymore. If that happens, just take it back to square one. Just do the shake, add your thumb, and then again lightly place just your second finger. Now, of course, violinists are going to be doing vibrato on all of the fingers eventually, but second finger I think is the easiest to do because it's in the center of the hand and it's well balanced. So everything about vibrato is about balance at this point. So let me show you up close what the fingertip is doing. So we are rolling from tall to flat, tall, flat, tall, flat, tall, flat. And we're doing that by moving the hand. So this motion right here is actually a passive motion. It's actually being straightened and flattened because of the motion of the hand and the arm that are pulling it away and then bringing it back. Okay, so this is the motion that is happening with the fingertip. It needs to be very loose. Again, if there's any stiffness in that knuckle, then it makes it very hard to work. So don't squeeze the string at all. Just barely touch. All right, so your steps are shake, add the thumb, add the fingertip. Of course, adding the bow adds a whole nother level of complexity. So let me show you how you can build towards that. So you're doing just the shake, and before you add the finger, just add the bow on an open D, and you might even hear a little bit of a vibrato shake, but the most important thing is to not shake the bow. Okay, we don't want both hands shaking. So to be able to coordinate the shake of the left hand without shaking the right hand, I hope you heard a little bit of wow sound there. you don't have to go fast and you don't have to go far, okay? You just need to keep it loose and relaxed, and just to get the bow to do this, the smoothness of the bow stroke without shaking the bow the way the hand is shaking. Let me just demonstrate at this point what a real vibrato is going to sound like. And violinists have a range of motion that we do with vibrato. It can be narrow, it can be wide, it can be fast, it can be slow, depending on the music. That's what gives the music the expression of the vibrato. So, so you'll build towards that eventually, but for now, we're just trying to get these basic steps accomplished without any extra squeezing. So let me show you how we're going to transfer that to the cello or bass. The concepts are basically the same for those two instruments. So instead of doing the bobblehead shake, you're going to be shaking vertically, because we always want to follow the same direction of the strings. So violin and viola strings go this way, your strings are going this way. So I want you to just pretend that you're just gently rubbing the side of your cheek with the back of your fingers, just the knuckles, just gently stroking your cheek like this. And then your hand is going to go in the same direction this way, or you can pretend that you're shaking up a can of soda, but nothing too violent, of course. And then place just the tip of your thumb on the back of the instrument and of the neck of the instrument, and like you did like the violin viola players, keep this C shape open. If that gets closed shut, the vibrato doesn't really work. It gets too stiff, too rigid. It won't work. So place just the tip of your thumb and keep the C shape open, and you're going to go up and down in the same direction as the strings. Okay, and you might even go ahead and let the fingers polish the strings. You can let them all flop down, or better yet, just let one finger start to smaller, go smaller and smaller and smaller until you stick, and then that's basically your vibrato motion. The violin and viola players really have to work on this pivot in the end joint to get their vibrato to work. Cello and bass players, since you're going to be going this way, this way up and down the strings, and your fingers are perpendicular to the strings, you're not really going to have that rolling of the fingertip. I mean, yours is going to be more side to side on the fingertip instead of making the fingertip bend the way the violins and violas did. So it's really just going to be that way. Now, for cello and bass, I'd like to show you a really cool little trick that I do. Take a matchbox card, place it on your strings, try to get the wheels lined up there, and using just the tip of your finger, and try not to get a flat finger. I really don't want flat fingers. Just try to get just a little arch in your fingertip there, and run your matchbox card up and down the strings. Okay, that really works well to get your fingers going in the same direction as the strings this way. So often I see students trying to do this, it doesn't work. Okay, going up and down the same direction of the strings, and no squeezing. Okay, it doesn't work if you're trying to mash that car into the fingerboard. It just isn't going to work. Okay, so just very, very lightly up and down the fingerboard this way. Of course, the same thing can work on the violins and violas. However, for them, I like to use these little finger skateboards. Okay, they get you a little closer to the string. It's a little lighter, a little looser, and make sure that you're placing the tip of your finger in the center of the fingerboard. Otherwise, it'll go flying out from under you. So there's a little balance involved there. But place the skateboard on your strings and skate up and down the fingerboard this way. Okay, it makes kind of a scratching noise, but that's okay. And you're going to go up and down the fingerboard this way, and then eventually you take that away, and you have the same action of the fingertip, but now it's going to roll. Okay, obviously with the toys, your fingertip isn't exactly rolling, but you're getting the right hand motion and not squeezing. So those are the main components there. So I hope that helps with learning vibrato. It's a beautiful, beautiful skill to acquire, and it's definitely a sign of a mature musician. So good luck.